In addition to being the second lady of the United States, Usha Vance is an American lawyer who received her Juris Doctor from Yale Law School. She is also the mother of 3 young children, and we are thrilled to welcome her today. Thank you for visiting with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We are officially on the Mom View.
We've got the second lady on the Mom View. So exciting. Thank you so much, Mrs. Vance, for joining us. We're really delighted to have you.
Oh, and please call me Usha.
Okay, great.
All right. We're legal. We
All right,
can
you
call
have the
Usha.
very first question because
I
it's a
sure
really
do.
good question. I'm very much waiting to
I
hear
mean,
the
this is
answer.
one you've never been asked before, I'm sure. How has life changed since becoming the second lady? And I know that is really a loaded question, but it just constantly has to be a wow moment.
Well, yeah, you're right. I have been asked it a lot. And it's something that I actually reflect on a lot because we have little kids and their lives have changed too. So the answer is yes, it's changed in so many ways that we could probably talk for an hour on this show about all the ways in which it's different. But it's changed in a lot of good ways too. And so I was thinking a little bit about this the other day. One of my kids' friends' moms actually asked me. And I think one of the best ways that it's changed is that I just meet the most interesting people. And I don't mean famous people necessarily. I don't mean politicians. But because I have this role that like means something to people, people are just so excited to share the things that they care about, share what they're working on. I mean, it's everyone from if I'm in a museum, the security guards will be really enthusiastic about telling me the famous or their favorite paintings in a room. Or if we go to a historical site, if you just ask people questions, they really open up. And so I've had a lot of adventures, and a lot of those adventures have just really revolved around the people that we've met.
It must be just an incredible
Yeah.
world.
Well, I'm just thinking about the kids because I'm a mother of 8. And I can imagine all the travels and the balanced mom life with your position. How does that work out?
Well, it's been working pretty well, actually. One of the really nice things about this role that we're in is that our children can do a lot of things with us, as I'm sure you've seen. It's easier for us to travel with them in certain respects. You know, there's always transportation on Air Force Two with JD. You know, there's always a car kind of waiting for us on the other end. So some of the really hard things about logistics with children kind of disappear. And similarly, people are really welcoming about having them come with us to do things. So that's been a really good thing. At the same time, we don't really want their lives to change in a meaningful way. We don't want them to be very conscious of the differences or really think of themselves as set apart in any way. And so we have sort of intentionally structured their lives to be as sort of boring as possible, if that makes sense.
Normal, boring, right?
Normal.
Yes.
They go to very normal schools. They wear hand-me-downs. They do chores. They do activities that are not supremely expensive. We prioritize things that we would have done if none of this had happened for them. And I think for the most part, they barely notice all of the hullabaloo around them. So that's been really good.
That's kind of amazing.
Right. Unless Secret Services are, I mean, those things are probably the different.
They are.
Right.
Yeah, but I think we approach that a little bit differently too. The Secret Service is there, but the way that they know the Secret Service is, you know, which agents are really good at, I don't know, pretending to sword fight, and which agents are really great at football, and who do they get to talk to about, you know, the soccer match that they just came back from. So they see those just as relationships with adults that kind of enrich their lives, and I don't think they're very conscious of the security element of it.
I actually think that's amazing that the security element is
Right.
interacting with them in that way to make it feel more normal to them. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since there have been young children,
Kids in
and
the White House.
yeah, so up in the nation's
We
capital.
do love seeing you going up to the airplanes and down, and the kids asleep, and just it's so
real.
relatable.
Well, thank you. I mean, we try to let them do things on their schedule and in their way, and so sometimes you see them asleep, and sometimes you see them in pajamas, and
I love
sometimes they dart off in the wrong direction. That's just sort of part of it.
it. Well, and I love how President Trump is so welcoming with children too. He's surrounded by young mothers with children, so he must just love having them around, kind of an extra grandpa. And so, guys, you probably have had like incredible moments. What would be like, you know, one or two of your most impressionable moments that you've had so far?
Oh, that's a tough question because there have been a lot of really interesting adventures, like I
Right.
said. Well, one recently that was really just incredible was we visited Israel, and it was a sort of quick trip. But we did manage to squeeze in a visit to the city of David, which is this amazing archaeological site leading from the pool up to the Western Wall. Um, and my understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, is that we were the first group that they permitted to traverse the entire path all the
Oh.
way from the pool up. And it was just incredible to be somewhere, of that age, of that vintage, with that incredible history that means so much to so many people around the world. So that was a real standout in my mind from the recent
Well, you must have got a lot of
travels.
good pictures because the media follows you. So
Yeah.
No media
Scrap-
there, which was
No
but we
media!
took some good
Oh, that's
photos
right.
on our iPhones.
Good, good, good.
That was
Scrapbook.
worth it.
That'd be amazing scrapbook.
Yeah.
My daughter just was able to
That
go
is
to
wonderful.
Israel just a month or so ago, and experience of a lifetime to be
Yeah.
able to be there in the Holy Land. But that's an extra adventure that she
And
didn't.
not
that she
having
didn't get.
media, I mean, those are kind of the things that you have to balance always, in your position. So another question we want to talk about is how do you maintain connecting with you and JD, the kids? How do you protect all that and just really
The
make
relationships.
family a priority?
The first and most important thing, and JD gets a lot of credit for this, is that we're very intentional about what we do. And we're very intentional about preserving certain pockets of time that are always for family. And there's an entire team that, works around the clock, honestly, to make this possible. So, for example, we always have breakfast together.
Okay.
We usually have dinner all together as a family. We spend the weekends together. When our kids have a soccer match, one or both parents is at that soccer match. And it goes on and on, right? So we do, first of all, just try to be present in the same way that any parent would like to be present. And, kudos to all the people who support that and really just understand that that's a priority, even when there are all these really important things happening in the world. And then we've always been a really active family and like to do things together. In this life, we have to change what we do in some ways. We can't just walk out the door of the Naval Observatory and walk down the street to go get ice cream or something like that. So we have to find substitutes that feel as natural and allow our kids and ourselves to have that just natural engagement that feels really private. So we do a lot of hiking as a family.
Nice.
That's one of the things we do. We'll go to the same kinds of places that we always used to go before, but we'll either sneak in through back entrances in a museum or go right as it's opening so there are fewer people there or something like that, so that we can all have the experience of doing something together really focused on our family unit. And then there are things that we do at home, rituals that we maintain. Like JD usually cooks breakfast on the weekends.
Is he a good cook?
He's a really good cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does
He's
he do
our
the
breakfast chef.
shaped pancakes?
No, he has very high baking standards for himself. So he does a lot
Wow.
of baked goods on the weekends and other things as well. I pack our kids' lunch boxes with them, at night. There are just all these routines and rituals that I think allow our lives to feel really normal. And that's what keeps us connected.
This is so good because this is the kind of thing that moms are always talking about, the balanced mom life. How do you balance the mom life? And the fact that you can do it at the level of position that you're at is kind of inspiring to all those moms out there who are trying to do it with their lives as well.
Yeah, the challenge of that for you, Usha, just balancing it. How did you, I guess just every day you're just in prayer, making sure that you can handle it all. And kids are their own, situation, let alone the demands on you as second lady. So you just do it, right?
Well, I think everyone just does it. And then if I'm totally candid, in some ways it's a little bit easier for us now, right? I mean, I don't have to remember to go fill up the gas tank. I do go to the grocery store, and I try to do that every week. But if I forget something, people will volunteer to help and go pick up that extra bag of flour or something. So a lot of the things that make home life a little challenging disappear. And they're obviously replaced by things that are really unusual about our life and make the family activities harder. In many ways, it just feels like what it was before. We all just...
That's impressive. I
Right.
mean, in and of itself,
And
that is extremely impressive.
I think it's true, right? As moms, we just adjust.
Yeah.
Whatever our kids' demands are, whatever career path we may have, whatever it is, we just adjust.
So
So
people used to always ask me, when I tell them I have 8 children, like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, they were there. So you figure it out. So it's kind of like, it's there. So you figured it out. But I think that's what we do as moms and women. We just rise to the challenge. But I really want to talk about your every second lady picks up some things that she's passionate about, and you picked up literacy, and you've had an incredible summer of the reading challenge.
yes, it was
And
great.
yeah, I would love to talk about that and
Sure.
what your plans are for the future. So what inspired you to take up that as your passion?
Well, literacy is something that just generally matters to me. From my childhood, I was an avid reader. I see it as the foundation of everything that happened in my life. But it wasn't really my professional focus in any sense. When JD was selected as the nominee and then eventually elected to be vice president, I had to really think about what to do with my time, because you just can't be a practicing lawyer. That's off the table. And I have 3 small kids. I had just finished teaching my middle child to read when he was 4, and my youngest child was starting to become interested in reading. And as I was, reading what you see in the news about literacy scores dropping on this kind of almost free fall for about 20 years now, 15 years, it became apparent that if I was going to do something meaningful that also aligned with what was happening in our home and was suitable for the position I was in, literacy was just the obvious target. And it's been really exciting. I've taken it as a learning opportunity. I've been reading various books. I'm taking a teacher credentialing course right now, just, auditing it, but in order to really try to understand how this works in schools. And I've talked to people all over the country with all sorts of backgrounds about this issue. And so the Summer Reading Challenge was kind of a test balloon to see how you get something set up that you can bring to a conclusion, all of the things that you need to do in this role to have a project. And what you'll see going forward are many more things like that. With the Summer Reading Challenge coming back and on a much larger scale, probably next summer, and other things that we will be announcing over the next few months or a couple years, as the case may be.
Now I know you're an avid reader yourself. You just mentioned that. What kind of books do you like to read? Is it a variety or
is
are
variety.
you okay?
Yeah,
Nonfiction, fiction,
Right.
adventure.
What
history.
genre?
I've been doing a little bit of everything. Some of the books that I've read have been just for pure pleasure. For example, I've been reading some mystery books that my mom used to enjoy when I was a child, but that I never really picked up myself recently. So that's just pure pleasure and for a connection with my mom. But I've also read some books about, like I mentioned, reading, the science of reading, reading policy, things like that. I've read books that I've picked up in an attempt to challenge myself, because reading is a muscle, and I think it atrophied a bit through the years of mainly focusing on work and family.
I love that phrase. Reading
yeah.
is a muscle. I hadn't. So she's right, but I had never thought about that. Sorry.
Well,
go ahead.
it's maybe attention that's the muscle and not reading. And,
Okay.
it's hard to sustain attention
It is, especially in today's world.
today.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on improving that, sometimes by reading things where I don't necessarily feel like I want to finish it, but I have to. Like, I set that goal for myself. And so it's been a whole range of things.
So one of my favorite things with my children and my grandchildren is read alouds. I sit and read aloud to them. Do you guys do that as well with your kids?
We do. I will say my older 2 kids have lost a little interest in that as they've become really avid readers on their own. They just think it's too slow.
Too slow. I was just going to say,
heartbreaking.
that's
Funny.
when I would put the book down, they would be trying to sneak it to finish the book. As well.
Yeah.
I can't wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, I get it ripped out of my hands basically after a few pages. But my 3-year-old is still all in, so we read to her a lot.
That's awesome.
And sometimes the boys will listen over our shoulder, So they still like it. They want to race through the books themselves at this point.
So what are your plans for the future activities for the literacy campaigns?
I don't know if you guys know the Imagination Library. Are you familiar with
Yeah,
it?
we do.
Yeah, it has a wonderful model. The basic idea, and anyone who's listening, if you happen to have a children between 0 and 5, definitely go check it out. They offer books every single month for kids from ages 0 to 5, if you live in an area that is covered, right, where there's a sponsor. So actually the first thing that I did when JD was inaugurated, the very first thing, because we've been a subscriber now for 8 years, was reach out to them and see if there was any way to help. And they were pretty enthusiastic, and they said, and I was really kind of surprised to hear this, that one of the hardest populations for them to reach is military children.
What?
Because, you know, military children might be living in a covered area and then their families move, right? And they move out of
That's
it.
so
and then they might
true.
move back in.
As a military
So-
mom,
Yeah. So if you grew up in one place like me for 5 years, you get those books for 5 straight years. But if you're moving around in and out of coverage areas, then you're out of luck, which just struck me as so heartbreaking because these are children who are truly in service to our country.
yeah.
So we spent some time working with the Army to try to figure out the mechanics. They were a great partner in this, just trying to figure out the mechanics of how you keep kids within the system once they're signed up. And we found, I talked to some friends who were military children themselves and really motivated, you know, adults now with resources and that sort of thing. They were able to find funding partners to do this. But, you know, it was about 9-10 months of work. And then unfortunately, I think the board just was a little bit motivated by partisanship and decided to kind of drop it at the last
Oh,
second.
that's so sad.
So that was a real setback. But now, I mean, the upshot of that process is that we have learned so much about people from across the political spectrum who are just desperate to support this kind of work and who are out there with, you know, with money, with connections, with enthusiasm for helping children in the military, helping children in this age bracket generally learn to read. So I think the next project will be stronger for it.
Nice.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Well, I'm a military wife. My husband's retired Air Force, and we were moving every 2 to 3 years. And you have to redo everything. You have to find, people don't think
Right.
about it. You have to find a new dentist,
Yeah.
a new doctor, a new hairstylist. So to have something consistent like that, that was brilliant of you to think about that.
Well, I mean, it was, like I said, it was their idea, and I know this will happen someday. And we're thinking about all sorts of other ways to kind of bring the same services to kids who end up stationed overseas or wherever they might be.
Awesome.
So,
I had a question too,
Stay
just in, we're close to our time here. Advice to moms in today's culture. You've got an audience, Usha, that are just really admire you. You're just lovely. Just maybe some words of advice and encouraging them.
I'm quite early in this journey, and I'm
Right.
sure many of the people watching are so much more experienced than I am. But I guess there are a couple things that I've really been thinking about recently. One is the value of bringing children into your life as an adult rather than turning your entire life into something, you know, very child oriented. And by that, I mean, if you're a parent at home, whether you're a working parent or not, you need to make dinner, right?
Right.
You need to do laundry. You need to clean up. You might have to do errands. There are children, and I read some books actually that were really influential in my thinking on this. Children are really programmed to want to be a part of that and want to contribute.
So true.
And it is incredibly rewarding to spend time with your kids rather than turning on the TV and having them watch something while you make dinner. I mean, a 1.5-year-old can start can start separating leaves from herbs, or a 2-year-old can start
Whites
using a
from
kid
darks.
knife. Yeah. We changed our entire laundry system to allow toddlers to do it so they can put away their own clothes.
Here's the colors, here's the darks, here's the whites.
We just gave up on folding, right? They can put it in the drawer.
You just
you
make
can
those
talk about
adjustments.
things.
We gave up on drawers and put baskets underneath the beds. Just-
Yeah.
But involving your kids.
Yeah, just treating the household as a family enterprise and them as valued participants in it, I just think takes a lot of the stress out of home life that just shouldn't have to be there. It's not like every parent has to be solely responsible for keeping the place afloat.
Right.
And there's just been a lot of joy in doing things with my kids rather than only doing it for them.
Good point.
And so I think if I could encourage everyone to find something chore that they don't really love and find a way to make it an activity to do with.
That's going to make them
Their
great
chick.
adults.
And make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on here. The moms were just so excited when we announced that we were going to have you on, because they are watching you and seeing how can we balance, how can we appreciate what we have as moms and see it in the lives of moms who are ruling the world kind of right now.
Thank
So-
you. And please say hello to the Vice
Yes,
President.
it'll be-
JD. We're
yes.
big fans of JD.
Thank you
We got
both.
to see him in Pennsylvania, but
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, tell him we said hi.
Will
So
do.
thank you so much for coming.